my channel. So sorry that it's taking me literally ages to upload a new video. It's been hectic, it's been crazy, but we're gonna work with it. I'm not alone, so if you guys hear noise, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna pull my hair back, we're gonna get started. It's gonna be just a little quick. I kinda wanna just redo the look that I did previously, but kinda just talk through the steps that I did, okay? So I'm gonna kinda do that type of natural, like everyday glam. And first thing I like to do is prime. I use this primer. And I mostly just prime around my nose area. Next up is corrector. I use the proconceal in the color orange. And I just kind of do it in the spots where I feel like I need some more coverage, like, or correcting like right here.
I thought I was going to be able to talk during the video, but I clearly won't be able to, so I'm just going to kind of go over what I'm doing here. I'm just blending that corrector into my skin, and then I go in with the foundation. I use this Lancôme foundation. It's my favorite. It's a really, really like natural finish, which I enjoy. So this is probably one of my go-tos for foundation, and that's what I'm applying. I first go in with the brush downwards, as you can see there. And then once I feel like I have a good coat on the sponge I am obsessed with currently is this Equal Tool sponge. I like it because it has a flat surface, and then it has like a smaller flat surface as well as like a blunt edge as well, which I like for baking. So I just take that sponge and blend it all out, and I do the other side, and then I don't forget my forehead. I put the foundation on my forehead, and I don't really put any on my nose. I just put it around, and then whatever's left over, then I'll use the sponge to blend it out onto my nose as well. And I always try to remember to get under my chin there any leftover foundation. I just don't like to be wasteful, so I'll just try to get, you know, everything coated evenly, and then just go in, like I said, with the sponge again and just blend everything out. Next up is concealer, and I use the Shape Tape. What I like to do is I like to take the same side that I used on the foundation and blend out all of the concealer. Now under my eyes, I just blend like the major part, like from the middle of my eye outward, and I leave kind of that inside part to kind of set a little bit longer, so I don't really blend that out. I go in with a smaller sponge to blend that part out. So I'll just go over the other areas, like the center of my forehead, my nose, my chin, and then like I said, that larger part under the eyes. And then right here, this is when I go in with a smaller blender to blend out the rest of that concealer around my eye. So right here, what I do is I take the Fit Me Maybelline setting powder, and then I just pour a little bit into the lid, and then I use, sorry, so this is what was happening downstairs. Alright, so moving on, basically, like I said, I just blend with the little sponge, and then I also take some of that powder and I set it right away. So I try to use a really light layer under my eyes because I don't want it to be cakey. So I'll just do a really light layer of powder under my eyes as I'm blending. So I blend out and then I add the powder. Same thing on the other side. Just blend it and then set it with the powder. And I try to use different sponges because I feel like it kind of sets it too much if you use the same sponge. So I should have used two different ones. I next go in with the Airspun all over my face, and I like to pack it onto my nose area because that's where I'm the most oily throughout the day. So I'll go in extra heavy with the powder on the nose area specifically, and then on my forehead because that's, like I said, where I get the most oil. And as you can see, I'm using the other flat side of the sponge. Next we go in with contour, and I use this LA Girl Pro Concealer, and then I just apply that to where I would like to put it. I just use a little bit. I try not to go too heavy with the cream because I do go in after with powder as well. Don't forget the chin area. And then I just like to blend that out with this like tapered fluffy brush from Real Techniques. Next up is powder bronzer, and I like to use actually a MAC foundation in a darker color, and I'll just go in with my brush and I kind of lay it vertical almost, and I go back and forth that way, and I lay that over the cream to make it just a little darker around my forehead and around my cheek area, and I also use it on my chin as well, anywhere where I put the dark cream. I also like to take that shade under the nose to just kind of darken that, to make my nose look a little bit more like upturned. Next up is the contour on the sides, and I take a smaller dome brush and that exact same powder, and I go down the sides of my nose, and I leave that baking powder underneath still, and then once I have the dark lines, I go in with the same sponge that I used for my baking, and I use that flat edge. It has like a blunt edge, which is why I love this sponge. And I'll just dip that into the Airspun, and I'll bake on the side of that dark line to kind of sharpen up the line there. Once everything is nice and blended, I go in and do my eyebrows where everything's setting. I like to brush them out a little bit first, and then I do use the Anastasia Beverly Hills pomade, and be light-handed with the pomade because a little does go a long way. So I kind of cut through that part because it just takes me a while to get it. I basically just underline the brow, fill it in on the tail, and then I go in and do the front. And then I just brush it out to make sure that it's like even and it's not too dark on the ends. Once they look good, I take some concealer and this flat concealer brush, and it's the same one that I used on my face, so I'll just take a little bit of that and I'll underline the brow. And I only like to do the bottoms because, like I said, this is kind of a natural glam, like an everyday one, so I didn't want to overdo it with the concealer. So I just do the underside, and I do just a little line, and then I blend it down. Once I have the concealer blended down with the brush, I go in with the little sponge, and I actually set it with powder because I have really oily eyelids. So I'll set it with the Airspun after I'm done blending out that concealer with the little sponge. I go in with this Great Lash Clear Mascara on my eyebrows just to hold the hairs in place.
No, give me that. Ew,
And again, this was happening downstairs. Didn't get anything done, jeez. I don't know how I stay focused.
Here, give it to Nana. Yeah.
Throw it to Nana. Throw it. Throw it.
Throw it. No, tírala.
Throw it. Boom, I just did it.
My family's crazy, y'all, I'm sorry. But basically what I did is I blended the bronzer into the crease, and I kind of brought it down under the eye as well, just a little bit. And then I take this Wet n Wild Precious Petals highlighter, and I actually use that just on the lid as like an eyeshadow. Again, it's natural glam, so I didn't want to go in with like a full-on eyeshadow. I just wanted something sparkly on the top of the lid, so that's what I used. And then I just blend the edge again with the same bronzer. And then I use this blush in Just Peachy, and I just take that on like a what is that kind of brush called, stipple brush, and then I just blend that out all over my cheek, and I kind of go back into it a little bit more. I kind of like that 80s look. And then after that I curl my eyelashes, and I apply a layer of this Define a Lash mascara. That is like the best mascara ever. I love that one. I'm obsessed. I found these lashes at Walmart, and I was like, let me try them, they're really cute. So I did that with the Kiss eyelash glue, and I actually ended up reapplying my lashes with the green duo, because this one, it didn't stick very well, so I just had to swap them out later after the video. But in the video I did use that Kiss lash glue, and it just, I don't know, maybe I just need to work with it a little bit better, but I was kind of in a hurry right here, so it didn't work out for me personally. But I will give it another go in a different video. And I always use tweezers to apply my lashes, and then I squeeze them together just using my fingertips. Right here, I'm just taking that same highlight and I'm putting it in the inner corner just to kind of open up my eyes. And I use like a small detail brush to do this. And I also put it under the brow as well. I really liked how that looked. So then I'm moving on to the next step, which is lips. And I take this Cork lip liner by MAC, and I just line the center of my lips. So on the bottom, I'll just do the center part. I don't go all the way out. And then on the top, I do the same thing. I just do the center, like my Cupid's bow, and maybe like a little bit down from that as well. But I don't do the whole lip. I just do the Cupid's bow, and then like on the bottom, just on the center. Then I take this other lip liner, which is Strip Down. It's a lighter shade, and I blend out the darker shade. So I'll blend that line out to the very end. And then same thing with the top. I'll use it to blend it out. And then this is actually a little sneak peek of a new lipstick that we're coming out for Querida Cosmetics. It's still a sample, so I didn't want to put the name or anything on the screen yet until we actually launch it, but I'll keep you guys posted on that as well. And I just fill my lips in with that lipstick. It's so good. You just need like one swipe and you're done. So I go in with highlight, and actually for the first layer I do a fan brush because it's like a lighter application, and I use this MAC Global Glow highlighter first. So I'll just put that everywhere I want highlight. And my hair was irritating me so bad throughout this whole video. I'm so sorry. I tried my best to just ignore it, but it was so bad. Those clips did nothing, so I just took them out. I ended up just taking them out. But again, back to the highlighting. I'm just highlighting the high points of my face, and with the fan brush first. Now I like to go in with this like dense brush and just some other MAC powder. It's a skin finish powder. And I just dust off the bake with that brush. And I don't really dust it off. I kind of just pat in the powder where I have that setting powder at. And then I use this to kind of go over it so it can match my skin. And then at this part is when I carve out under my contour just to kind of brighten it up again. So I'll go under there with some powder and I'll let it sit for a minute. I just let this set just for a moment so that it can brighten back up. And then again, that same brush, I go in with the same powder and I just dust it off. I kind of, under the cheeks, I kind of do brush it, but for the rest of the face, I kind of just pat it. Then I go in with the Urban Decay All Nighter, and I just do that on the center of the face, which is what I was trying to like show with my hands there. So I just spray that in the center. And then I just try to fan it down a little bit, and then I pat it down with the sponge, the rounded part of the sponge. Then I take this Morphe mist setting spray, and I use that on the outside of my face to just make sure it's like dewy. Before it sets, I go in with this like more dense highlight brush, and same highlighter that I've been using this whole time, I just pack that on over the Global Glow from MAC. You see how bright that looks? I love that look. And this is basically the finishing touches.